My name's McTernan, and I'm a company director at Grand Ambition, part of the collective.
And my name's Mylan. I'm also a company director and part of the creative collective that is Grand Ambition. Well, we collectively felt that Swansea needed a theatre company, or certainly a theatre that kind of honoured our rich cultural heritage. We've got an amazing cultural heritage in Swansea that, Dylan Thomas, etc. But we've never quite, we felt we've never quite had a theatre scene to match our ambition as a city. So we set about forming a company, and luckily for us, I guess we were right pitch, right time, because they put us in the Grand Theatre in Swansea, which is the premier theatre in the city, and we're now the resident company and community interest company at the Grand Theatre in Swansea. So that's how it all started.
And one which is Swansea City Council really recognised that there was a need for the creative cultural sort of services within the area, and this was something, as Rich said, it was a good pitch at the right time. And since then, the infrastructure of creative arts within Swansea has started to change. And I think that's something that we're incredibly proud of.
Yeah, really proud. So we're kind of thrown into our roles as company directors. We'd never been company directors before, and we've kind of been learning as we go since, and having loads of fun doing it.
Yeah. I think the aims are to nurture new and existing talent within Swansea, essentially, but of course that stems out across the whole of Wales, because we work with lots of people from other areas as well. But I think one of our taglines is "We tell Swansea stories." That's one of our aims, is to tell stories from the street and bring them to the stage. Stories that are important, stories that ask questions, stories that are difficult and are complex in many ways. And how can we tell those, making our audiences feel connected, feel that they can see themselves within the piece, and allow others that can recognise something that they never knew about, and can go away and, theatre can change the world. That's what we believe, and it's true. And so I think, we have to handle it with real care as well. So I think that's the important thing.
And it kind of happened organically as well, because ultimately we champion unheard voices, and we tell stories that traditionally don't make it onto our stages. And that, I wouldn't say it happened by accident, but it's who we are as people, is what we want to tell those stories as people. So that happened organically, and that's become our brand and what we're known for. And I think somebody said that all of our plays, they scratch at the underbelly of society. And I'm really proud of that. But we do want to tell lighter stories as well, but it just seems that our first 3-4 productions have been those sort of unheard stories. And we always talk about, we want people to kind of learn through immersion about things that they have very strong opinions about, but actually know very little. And that's when theatre can change the world.
Yeah, true. Hot Chicks has been on the table for quite a long time before it actually made the stage, and it was chats with Rebecca Jade Hammond, who was the writer of Hot Chicks, and she sort of she'd been doing some R&Ds on it herself already, and she came to us with it. And I think as soon as we read it, we could see that the brilliance of the writing, one, but two, the importance of the story. And to us, the story is the key.
Yeah, I remember when I read it, I instantly connected with it. And it's probably because, I'm a recovering heroin addict, so the world in which the play is set, I know a bit about, and have lived experience of. And I think it touched me on a personal level. And yeah, I also thought the writing was brilliant, considering that Rebecca is not a young person, essentially. She's writing young people's voices, and I thought she did that remarkably well. So yeah, we were excited. And like Michelle said, it took a couple of years to get it to where, to get it production ready. But yeah, we're so glad that we did.
Yeah, and I think we saw the value in the fact that, it was a topic that was very much in the media at the time as well. And it was also something that we could recognise that it would make an impact, and hopefully we could make a change through telling it.
And the fact that it's in the public consciousness, is on the news constantly, but actually, again, people know very little about it. They have strong opinions, but they actually know very little about it. And, it is very complex and nuanced. And so we're proud that we were able to tell a story, but also not teach people, but like I said before, our audiences learn through immersion. They come away having their opinions changed, essentially, which is amazing. So essentially, Hot Chicks is set in a chicken shop in Swansea, in Mylan in Swansea, which is, it's on the periphery. It's almost semi-rural, Mylan. Well, kind of is, yeah.
It is, yeah.
And Beck was adamant that that's where it should be set, because as we know, exploitation happens everywhere, not just in a city. So it's set in the chicken shop, and these two young girls frequent the chicken shop, and they're always sort of sponging free food off the weary chicken shop owner, Chenny. And he's a lovable guy. He lets them get away with murder, and they're just kids being kids in a chicken shop. And then in walks Sadie, who is covered in designer gear and is aspirational, so everything the girls want to be. And then she slowly befriends the two girls, and then we start to realize that there is a sinister side to Sadie and a world that the girls find themselves being dragged into, which is drug running, and they get deeper and deeper into it. The money gets bigger, and they get further and further in, and the consequences are horrific. Yeah.
And I think it was important to us that the audience feel that shift. The audience go along with it as well and think that this sounds like a good thing, but actually it's not. So there was a point where there was a shift.
And we really, what we wanted to happen and what we worked really hard on is that the girls were essentially groomed, and we wanted the audience to be groomed to some degree, because the audience, it's funny, they always made immediate assumptions. Oh, it's the guy who's running the chicken shop. And that's why it was really important that we had this female character that was the manipulator, because Beck again wanted to explore female toxicity. Again, not stories that aren't traditionally, they don't traditionally make it to our stages. So that was really important. So it was a very complex story.
At the heart of everything that we do at Grand Ambition, community engagement is really, really important. It's something that we've learnt along the way, that by building that really strong foundation and connecting with outside communities, other different groups, and of course linked with some of the themes that are within whatever shows we do, it just strengthens it. It strengthens our connections as people, but as a company, and we build relationships on that. With Hot Chicks, it was really important for us to team up in partnership with youth groups, and so we partnershiped with CMET, which is contextual, missing, trafficked.
Contextual, missing, exploited and trafficked,
It was part of the social services Swansea Council. We also partnered up with Y-Hub at the YMCA, and then within Cardiff, because we were collaboration with the Sherman Theatre, it was with SAFE. And that was really important as well. So we had these lovely alignments with youth group leaders and young people.
Yeah, it was really important. Even though Beck was really good at writing young voices, we needed young people's input, young people that have real world experience of exploitation, and so it was invaluable. And like Michelle said, like all of our projects are community first, and you know, does it align with our aims and objectives? But once we found a project, we think, okay, how do we make this project community first? So those relationships that Michelle spoke about, they happened before we even started our second R&D, so really early on, and actually the young people's input into the creative process was invaluable. And
changed the script.
It changed the script completely, because you know, the young people just tell it like it is. And
what we thought they loved, they were like, that's so yesterday. You know, we were like, okay. So it was great to have their input, and it informed the script, and it changed a lot of the sort of pathways for some of the characters, and it was great because, and also I think for them, they really felt that they had a sense of belonging to this piece, and so that helped to enable them to actually come and watch the piece, come and watch rehearsals, come and watch it sort of grow. And it was that, you know, and we took it out to schools as well. So we did workshops in comprehensive schools, and it was quite interesting to see how much they knew about the subject matter. As well, which was great.
But like Michelle said, like the terminology changed, the cultural references changed, and the play got darker actually, because their real world experience, they really, like she said, ownership of the play was really important, and once they had ownership, they wanted it to be the best, and anything that didn't quite ring true was cut and was replaced by suggestions that the young people themselves made, and so it got darker and it got more real, which is exactly what we wanted from the piece. A brilliant relationship, and instrumental, continues. You know, the legacy of it is that we engage with these groups even now. So that's super important. And of course, they made it onto the published play text. You know, it was huge for them and for us. So we worked with many partners on the educational pack, but essentially it's taking scenes from the play out of context and then using them to spark discussions, and then within the resource there are sort of workshop elements and teacher, what do they call them? Pathways? No.
I think it allows them to question and for them to role play. Within it as well.
That's what I'm trying to get. Lesson plans for teachers.
That's right.
So it kind of all revolves around the scenes. So they play. So we archive the play in both venues. So we've got scenes for the play on video. The scenes are played, and then the teacher and the young people who are accessing that resource, it sparks discussion, and they can
problem solve. And what would you do in this situation? Why do you think she said this? You know, and what would you do differently? And where in this scene can you see where this could have been prevented?
And ultimately,
those sort of things.
Yes, ultimately it makes young people more aware of the signs of exploitation, because they're not. It's not cloak and dagger. It's not the archetypal kind of it's not that. It's very complex, and it gives those young people ownership over those decisions as well. And you know, if they're watching and if they're part of that educational resource, and it sparks something that maybe their peers or they themselves are going through, then that's super important. And also the Children's Commissioner of Wales helped with that educational resource pack. So, and Dr. Nina Maxwell and
Kate Martin.
Yeah.
So Kate Martin was very much instrumental in giving us advice as well of how to put the pack together. But Dr. Nina Maxwell came in and gave us some incredible insight into what's happening today and the certain language that we use around grooming and exploitation gangs and things like this. So it was making sure that we were definitely up to date with exactly how we should be, the languages that we should be using.
Yeah, and Kate Martin, actually, she built the resource.
Yeah.
So yeah, she was incredible. And we're very lucky to have her working on it.
Yeah. We did have a Zoom meeting with the Welsh Government to talk about, because at the time it was really heightened. I mean, this is the thing, these things get heightened and then they sort of fade away, but actually it's still prevalent and as important as it is. But I think they were very keen to look at finding funding to roll it out all across all schools in Wales.
Yeah.
And then to maybe tag onto that, bringing in some actors to come into and taking it out in like a theatre and education type thing. But we would love to bring it back.
Yeah, I mean, that's ultimately what we were in discussions about, is taking the play nationwide throughout Wales and then, backed up by the educational resource. But we'd love to take it UK-wide. Yeah.
Because essentially set in Mylan in Swansea. It's a Swansea story, but this is a universal story. This is really something that I think should be on every single curriculum sort of educational platform. The play text is there as well, so we had it published. So that is there to go alongside it as a resource for teachers to reference. The music within it is very sort of engaging and speaks to young people today. Maybe next month might be different, with the trending.
Well, that's the great thing about the play,
it.
is that the terminology will change. The story will essentially stay the same, but the terminology will change, the cultural references will change, the play can evolve and be done in any decade in the future.
That's right, we had some great feedback.
Oh, it was amazing.
We were blown away actually by we had some people coming out in tears, really moved by it. Parents coming out going, some I didn't know this, and some coming out going, I know this world, I know what this feels like. And so the impact was very real.
There was a real appetite for it that took us by surprise, actually, because the Sherman, who are our brilliant co-producing partners, it rehearsed here in Cardiff and it opened here in Cardiff, and it sold out and got standing ovations, and it sparked many discussions. But the most rewarding thing was the young people themselves that were part of the process were blown away by it. So it was really great for them to see the finished product and then show them as well where creativity can take you. So it was really aspirational in that sense as well.
Yeah, and I mentioned we worked with them on doing workshops weekly. They made lots of arts and crafts and masks and how we put masks up into the world. They wrote a song.
Yeah,
one
poetry.
Young girl who actually had never sung before. We came and sang the song that she had written called Nothing in Life is Free, which is a line from the play.
Yeah.
She'd written her own song. She's 14 years old.
Had it recorded professionally.
Had it recorded in the studio. So it took on its own. She found her own identity through that and wanted to be called by her own name, whereas she's been hiding behind a different name for years. And so it kind of changed. It can change the world. It can change your life. So there was that. But so as much as when the audience would come through to the foyer part of the theatre, all their artwork was there for used as an exhibition.
QR codes linked to SoundCloud, like everything was on display, which we were really proud of.
Yeah, it just there was so much scope to share all the work that we'd done and that they had done, and so when they came in, saw their work, they felt that they had, this was their play.
Yeah.
They had a sense of belonging to it, and it was their play, and we did it for them, and we did it for everybody that's ever been touched by exploitation or, you know, in any shape or form. And I think that's why we do it.
Yeah. And it did, obviously then it transferred to Swansea, so it essentially came home, and the audiences there were phenomenal. And it was great for us to see how Cardiff audiences took it, and then how, you know, the two experiences were very different actually. Because a lot of the references in it were about Swansea, and if you're not from Swansea, you know, they kind of go over your head. But yeah, both sets of audiences loved it, and that was the great thing.
Yeah, we had a great cast.
Brilliant cast.
Great cast and great creatives and great, you know, the sound was incredible, the lighting was incredible, the set design was just amazing. There's so much that goes into putting on a production like this. And as much as we can layer it with all the creative elements and everything like that, the heart of it is the community and the people that we do it for.
Yeah.
I think that's, if anything we've learned from working in our short years with Grand Ambition, which is like 3 and a bit years now, is that community is always at the heart of everything we do. And we always centre that and always come back to that whenever we're looking, when we're facing any problems, we go, come back to that. It should always be about why are we doing it and who are we doing it for. And I think if we always come back to that, then we're always on the right track.
Yeah.
We're in what we call an R&D season at the minute.
Yes.
So we're doing 3 R&Ds, although we've had a little tag on of a separate R&D that we had a little bit of funding for, which was a Welsh language play.
Yeah, we're developing a Welsh language, our first Welsh language production. Michelle's production of Hop, which is next year, which deals with grief.
Yeah.
And that's going to be beautiful.
And that's for families then and young people.
Yeah, so we're in an R&D season ahead of our very first full season as a company. So traditionally in the past we've done 1 play a year. Next year we're doing 3.
It is really exciting. It is exciting. It just means that we're stepping up another level.
Yeah.
I think, you know, we're putting our foot very firmly on the ground and going, we're here. We're not going anywhere.
It's a reaction to how well we've done as a company. And again, we're not blowing our own trumpets. It's taken us by surprise, but it goes back to what we said right at the beginning. We felt that Swansea needed a theatre scene to match its ambition, and the thirst, the hunger for that is definitely there. So it's been a wonderful experience.
Yeah.